Ever turned the key, heard the engine crank like normal, and it just wouldn't fire? Or the car shut off out of nowhere at a light and left you guessing? Maybe you noticed there's no fuel pump hum when you switch the key on. Those are classic signs that power isn't reaching the pump when it should, and one little part often sits right in the middle of that story: the fuel pump relay. In this video, we're going to cover the 9 most common symptoms of a failing fuel pump relay, what usually causes each one, how to test it in your driveway without guesswork, and the right way to fix or replace it so you don't get stranded. Stick with me because catching a weak relay now can save your pump, your battery, and your nerves later. And hey, welcome to AutoVFix, where we help you diagnose and fix your car problems in an easy-to-follow steps. Here's the quick picture so everything makes sense. The fuel pump needs a lot of current to run. You don't want that heavy load going through the ignition switch or the engine computer. So the relay acts like a remote-controlled switch. A small signal wakes up the relay coil. Inside, a pair of contacts snap together and pass full battery power to the pump. Most square relays use the same 4 numbers. The small coil side is 85 and 86. The high current side is 30, power in, and 87, power out to the pump. The engine computer will turn the relay on for a second or two at key on to prime the rail. It keeps it on while cranking and running. If the engine stalls, it cuts power quickly for safety. When the relay can't do that job because the contacts are burned, the coil is weak, or the socket has poor connections, you get a chain of fuel problems that feel random until you test them. Let's talk signs you will notice in the real world, from most common to less common, with what they usually mean. First, the engine cranks but will not start. The starter spins. The dash looks normal. The motor never catches. If you turn the key to on and don't hear the quick 2-second pump prime, the relay may not be closing. No closed relay means the pump never sees power, the rail never builds pressure, and the injectors have nothing to spray. This is the single most common way a dead relay shows up. Second, the car stalls out of nowhere and then restarts like nothing happened. Inside the relay, the contacts can be pitted or the coil can be flaky. Hit a bump or heat soak the car and the contact opens for a split second. The pump loses power, the engine dies like someone shut the key off, and then it may restart right away, or only after it cools down. Unpredictable shutdowns at speed are a safety risk. Treat this as urgent. Third, it starts fine when cold but won't restart hot. That's a heat-sensitive relay. Under hood temperature climbs, plastic and metal inside expand, and a marginal coil or cracked solder joint opens up. After a cool down, it works again. The pattern is the clue. Cold start fine, quick stop for fuel, long crank with no start. Then it fires up after 10 minutes with the hood open. Fourth, loss of power while driving. Hesitation, stumbling, or surging that feels fuel-related. A relay that's arcing or barely holding can drop voltage at the pump. Fuel pressure falls. The engine leans out when you tip in, then catches up when the relay behaves. It feels like a weak pump, but the pump is only as strong as the power it's fed. Fifth, rough idle and misfires that come and go. When pump voltage is unstable, rail pressure walks up and down. The mixture goes lean, then normal, then lean again. You'll feel a shaky idle, see the tack needle twitch, and maybe get random misfire codes. If multiple cylinders misfire at once and the car clears up with a gentle throttle blip, check pump power and relay health before you throw coils and plugs at it. Sixth, odd relay behavior you can hear or smell. A normal relay makes one crisp click at key on. Rapid clicking means the coil is seeing weak or unstable voltage, common with a weak battery, bad grounds, or a relay on its last legs. No click at all during prime can mean a dead coil or no command. If the plastic body is discolored, the socket is melted, or you smell burnt plastic around the box, stop. Heat there means resistance and arcing. Fix that before driving. Seventh, a check engine light with fuel pressure or fuel circuit codes. The computer watches rail pressure on many cars. If the relay starves the pump, you can see P0087, pressure too low, or sensor range codes like P0190, P0194. You might also see P0230 or P0231 pointing to the pump primary circuit. Codes by themselves don't condemn a relay, but paired with no prime or stalling, they help you zero in. Eighth, the fuel pump runs constantly, even with the key off. Rare, but it happens when the relay contacts weld together. The pump hums with the car off and will drain the battery overnight. Pull the relay or the pump fuse immediately and replace the relay. Then confirm the pump isn't drawing too much current because high draw is what usually welds contacts shut. Ninth, you keep blowing the same fuse. People blame the relay, but here's the truth. The relay often dies because the pump is drawing too much current. A pump that is seizing, full of debris, or overheating will spike amperage. That overload blows the fuse, cooks the relay, or both. If a new relay fails again quickly, measure the pump current before you blame the box. Why do these little boxes go bad? A few root causes show up over and over. Excess current from a failing pump cooks the contacts. Poor grounds and crusty battery connections starve the coil so it chatters and burns itself up. Water leaks or engine bay heat age the plastics and the solder joints. DIY wiring repairs that twist and tape add resistance and heat to the socket. And low system voltage from a weak battery or tired alternator forces the relay to try to pull in on a diet. It clicks fast, never locks, and dies young. Now let me walk you through a clean, safe way to diagnose this without buying a stack of parts. Start with safety and location. Key off. Disconnect the negative battery cable if you'll be digging deep in the box. Use the lid diagram or the owner's manual to find the fuel pump relay. It may say FP, FPMP, or even be labeled under ECM IGN depending on the design. Most are a small cube you can pull straight out. Do a quick audible test. Reconnect the battery, place a finger on the relay. Turn the key to on, not start. You should feel one solid click and hear the pump prime for 2 seconds. No click or no hum? That's a signal to keep testing. Rapid clicking? Note it. Voltage is low or the coil is weak. Inspect. Pull the relay straight up. Look for melted plastic, browned sides, heat marks on the blades, or green corrosion. Check the socket terminals for spread pins, bluing, or melted plastic. If it looks cooked, don't shove a new relay into a melted hole. Repair the socket first. Try the easiest test in the book, the swap test. Find another relay in the same box with the exact part number. Horn or AC often match. Swap them. Try a key on prime and a start. If the car wakes up, you found the fault. Swap back to confirm the symptom returns. If the new relay chatters too, the problem is upstream power or ground, not the relay itself. If you have a multimeter, test the relay on the bench. Measure coil resistance across pins 85 and 86. Most coils live around 50-200 ohms. Open means broken. Near zero means shorted. Then check the big pins. With the relay at rest, pins 30 to 87 should be open. Apply 12V across 85 and 86, listen for a click, and check 30 to 87 again. You want near zero ohms when energized. If it stays open, those contacts are done. Next, test the socket so you know the car is feeding the relay correctly. With the meter on volts DC, probe the terminal that feeds pin 30. Key on, you should see battery voltage. No voltage there? Chase the main fuse or the feed wire. Now check the control side during prime. One of the small terminals will go hot for a second or two at key on. The other is the ground path the computer switches. If neither shows life during prime and the engine won't start, you may have a computer control issue or a sensor input missing. If the signal is present but weak, clean grounds and battery connections before replacing parts. Do a quick voltage drop test if you suspect resistance. Put 1 meter lead on the battery positive post and the other on the relay's 30 terminal during cranking. Anything more than about half a volt drop says you have a tired cable, corrosion, or a bad connection upstream. Do the same from the relay ground back to the battery negative. Big drops mean clean and tightened grounds. If you want the most decisive test of the downstream pump and wiring, do a relay bypass. With the key off, make a solid jumper between socket pins 30 and 87. Turn key to U1. The pump should run steady. If it does, the pump and the wire from the box to the tank are okay and the issue is on the control side. If it doesn't, the pump fuse could be blown. The wire to the pump could be open, the connector at the tank could be corroded, or the pump itself is dead. Only use a proper jumper with decent gauge wire, no paper clips, no foil. One more step that saves relays. Measure pump current. An inductive amp clamp around the pump feed wire tells you if the pump is pulling too much. Compared to typical specs, many in-tank pumps land in the 5 to 10 amp range, some a bit more. If you see big spikes, surging amperage, or a number well over spec, replace the pump first or your new relay will have a short life. Once you've pinned it down, fixing it the right way is simple. If you found weak power or grounds, service them. Clean the battery posts shiny. Tighten clamps properly. Follow the ground strap from battery to body and body to engine. Remove each, clean to bare metal, and reattach snugly. Replace any cable that's swollen, stiff, or shows heavy green corrosion under the insulation. That alone stops the chatter in many cars. If the socket is heat-stressed, repair it. Terminals that have lost their spring tension will run hot forever. Replace the terminal with the correct repair pigtail, not a universal spade jammed in. Use proper crimp tools or solder with heat shrink. Route the harness away from sharp edges and heat. If pump current is high, don't ignore it. A new relay will mask the problem for a week and die again. Replace the pump assembly with a quality unit. That usually includes the pump, strainer sock, seal, and level sender. Cheap pumps run hot and loud and draw more current. Use OE or a trusted brand. If the relay itself failed a test or the swap proved it, replace it. Match the part number and pin layout exactly. Seat it fully. Refit the cover. Reconnect the battery. Key on, listen for the prime, and start the car. Let it idle. Wiggle the harness at the box to make sure it doesn't stumble. There are a few special case fixes worth knowing. Some GM sedans in the late 2000s placed the rear electrical center under the seat. The seat base could press on the tall relay and stress the pins. The cure was a low-profile relay and, in some cases, trimming the bracket that contacted the cover. If your relay lives under a seat or in a damp trunk, check for water intrusion and fix the leak before you sign off. To keep this from coming back, build a couple habits. Keep a healthy battery in the car. Low voltage is rough on every relay. Clean grounds annually if you live where corrosion is common. Avoid running the tank near empty all the time. The pump runs hotter and draws more current when it's not submerged, and that extra draw punishes the relay. Use quality parts when you replace a pump or relay. And be kind to the wiring. Use loom, grommets, and proper taps if you add accessories instead of stacking multiple add-a fuses into one slot. If your car cranks but won't start and you don't hear the pump prime, start with the relay test here and you'll know in minutes whether the problem is the switch, the power feed, or the pump itself. If it stalls hot and restarts cold, pay attention to heat soak patterns. If it keeps blowing the same fuse, look for a pump that's overdrawing and fix that first. Do the simple checks. Confirm with 1 or 2 solid tests. Then replace only what failed. If this walkthrough helped you track down a sneaky relay fault, hit like so more drivers can find it. Drop a comment with your year, model, and exact symptom if you want help with a test plan tailored to your car. And if you want more clear, step-by-step guides just like this, subscribe to AutoV Fix so you're always a step ahead and your money stays in your pocket.